Hello everybody! Before we begin, I would like to let you all know that I have a book out. It is called Not Quite Dead, and it is the story of a woman whose fiancé passed away a year ago, having dreams where he tells her that he's still alive and trying to use said dreams to get him back. It is available on Amazon in both paperback and ebook formats, so if you've ever wanted to support me financially, then this is your opportunity to do so. Link is in the description. Hey gang, it's Squill, and Steven Universe is back, baby. Yup, just this year at Cartoon Network's Fantasy Panel, a Lars of the Stars spinoff was announced by Rebecca Sugar. A spinoff focused on Lars and the Off-Colors, following up their arc from Season 5. And because this news got me in a bit of a Steven Universe mood, I decided that now would be the best time to cover the next installment in the Retrospective series. A part of me kinda wishes we were covering Season 5, because that's obviously the season that's the most relevant to Lars and his arc, but we'll get to it when we get to it. For now, let's talk about Season 4. Much like Seasons 2 and 3, Seasons 4 and 5 were produced as one big production season that was later split in half. However, unlike 2 and 3, which sort of awkwardly stop and start in the middle of an arc, with Seasons 4 and 5, it feels like the crew knew the split would be happening, so they wrote the two-part episodes Are You My Dad and I Am My Mom to work as a season finale. Honestly, if I didn't know better, I'd have no idea Season 4 is only technically half a season. So good work, Crewniverse. But now onto the season itself. I think the most notable aspect of Season 4 is that this is the season that people really started to take issue with the amount of townie episodes. I mean, when we've got the looming threat of the Diamond Authorities and the mystery of Rose Quartz to worry about, why should we care about what Ronaldo is up to? But truthfully speaking, I don't really mind the townie episodes, and they don't take up that much of the season. Like, okay, I don't love all of these episodes, but Steven's human side is just as important as his gem side, so even if they're not as exciting as the gem-focused episodes, I still think these Beach City episodes are a necessity. Plus, we do get some good payoff to the Beach City episodes with the season finale. No, I think my main issue with Season 4 is that not much really happens this season. Like, take away the zoo arc around the middle of the season, and the aquamarine arc near the end, and not much actually progresses from episode to episode. And I'm saying this from an overall plot perspective, as well as the characters and their overall development. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of individual episodes I really like in this season, but the season as a whole is a little wheel spinny. I think an episode like Lion 4 is a pretty good exemplifier of this. This is an episode all about Steven trying to solve the mysteries of Rose Quartz. But the thread Steven follows ends up leading to the revelation that not everything in his life is some big conspiracy. It's a nice enough message, but rings a little hollow when the following season will have multiple episodes dedicated to the mystery of Rose Quartz. For the most part, it sort of feels like Season 4 is the season of waiting for things to happen, with a lot of episodes that, while not bad, feel rather inconsequential. But with that, let's transition to the characters in Season 4. I feel like this is a very active season for Steven. A Steven that's very steadfast in knowing what's going on. I just mentioned Lion 4, an episode all about Steven seeking out the answers to his questions. But alongside that, you get a moment like this scene in Steven's dream, in which he reprimands Pearl and Garnet for keeping secrets from him. This inspires Steven to try and find the palanquin, kicking off the zoo arc, which we'll talk more about a bit later. On top of that, you get him learning about Buddy's interactions with the crystal gems in Buddy's book, him trying to talk to Rose and storm into room, and him choosing to be taken to Homeworld in I Am My Mom. It feels like Steven just has a lot of agency this season. I like it. It feels like a very natural continuation off of where we left him at the end of Season 3. This is another pretty weak year as far as our three main crystal gems go. Of the three, Pearl is really the only one to get a spotlight episode in the form of Last One Out of Beach City. I guess Amethyst sorta gets Tiger Philanthropist, but that one's kinda debatable. Garnet, once again, doesn't really get much this year, with Mindful Education maybe being her biggest role. They're obviously still in a good chunk of the episodes, but they've really fallen out of focus these past couple seasons, haven't they? They're especially absent in the back half of the season, after the zoo arc. On a brighter note, this was a pretty good year for Peridot and Lapis. Peridot got a spotlight episode in the form of Kindergarten Kid, Lapis got Room for Ruby, and they also get quite a bit of focus in episodes like Gem Harvest and the new Crystal Gems. I still mostly agree with my criticism from last season, that Peridot and Lapis being relegated to the barn means they're a little too separated from the rest of the gems, but it at least feels like the show was trying to incorporate them into stories. That being said, why didn't Peridot join the gems in the zoo arc? She is literally the only one who knew how to fly the ship. Their whole journey would have gone so much smoother if Peridot joined them. Just why? I feel like we got a lot of good Steven and Greg focus this season. This is obviously the most prevalent in the zoo arc, where their relationship is the emotional core. But Greg also introduces Steven to his cousin Andy in Gem Harvest. We see him taking care of Steven as a baby in 3 Gems and a Baby. They get this nice moment together at the end of Lion 4, and Steven pretends to be Greg in order to protect him in I Am My Mom. And you know, this was a good season for Connie too. She and Steven really do feel like a team this season. It's fun. It does a good job at subtly setting up their arc for next season, even if that's a storyline I don't particularly love. With that, let's discuss the arcs in Season 3, starting with the Zoo arc. The main purpose of this arc is to give us a bit more information on the diamonds. It's here that we're introduced to the Human Zoo, a habitat for humans created by the other diamonds for Pink. It is this arc that we're introduced to Blue Diamond, who is capable of affecting the emotions of the people around her. We also see Yellow Diamond again, for the first time since Message Received all the way back in Season 2. And we get to see a bit of what the dynamic between Yellow and Blue is like. How Yellow's short temper clashes against Blue's depression. We also get to meet some new gems such as Holly Blue and other amethysts. As a whole, I like this arc. I think it's fun getting to explore the zoo and learn a bit more about the diamonds. But I definitely wouldn't call it one of my favorite Steven Universe arcs. I just tend to prefer the more character-driven stories in Steven Universe and just in general, whereas the zoo arc is a lot more lore-heavy. Maybe if they pushed the Steven and Greg stuff a little harder, that would be enough to escalate it into top-tier Steven Universe territory. But as is, it's a solid arc that does a good job laying the groundwork for what we'll learn about the diamonds in Homeworld in Season 5. Seriously though, why didn't they bring Peridot? The last 4 episodes of Season 4 make up an arc involving new gems Aquamarine and Topaz. Kind of. You see, the first 2 episodes in this arc, Dugout and The Good Lars, are only very loosely connected to the last 2, with the 2 gems kidnapping Onion in the former episode and Sadie and Lars in the latter. This is very nitpicky, but these 2 shots totally break the Steven perspective rule, right? Like, there's no way Steven is seeing these shadows. But whatever, it makes for a cool reveal that all of the people Aquamarine kidnapped were people that Steven listed to Peridot all the way back in Season 1's Marble Madness. It does make you wonder what took them so long, but that's also nitpicky. This is a very cool arc as a whole. The fact that the first 2 episodes sorta hide it from you does make it stand out compared to other Steven Universe arcs. But because of the way that it's structured, it's also hard for me to call it one of my favorite Steven Universe arcs. But as I mentioned earlier, this arc does end the season on a cliffhanger, so we'll pick back up on it at the start of Season 5. And that was Season 4 of Steven Universe, a season that I'd overall consider probably my least favorite of the show. Mostly just for the reasons I've stated before. It's a season where not a ton really happens, and some of the episodes are a little dull. And while I like both of the arcs this season, neither of them rank among my favorites in Steven Universe. But it's not a bad season in the slightest. There are a lot of really good episodes here. Even the weakest season of Steven Universe is still a pretty strong season of television. So let me know what your thoughts on Season 4 of Steven Universe are in the comments, and join me next time for my top 10 list. Have a good one, and Squill out.